In this episode, we'll continue to pay tribute to some of the thriving African American cities and towns that were deliberately destroyed in the US. Welcome to the Sankofa Pan African series. Please support us through Patreon and by buying me coffee so we can continue to bring you this series. Subscribe if you've not done so. And please turn on your notification button so you know when we have new episodes. Please share our videos with all your contacts. Again, on the 6th of March, 1863, in Detroit, Michigan, a man named William Faulkner was found guilty of sexually assaulting a white girl. Well, this pattern of accusing black men of rape kept repeating itself. It was the excuse for destroying Black Wall Street. I can't help but marvel, though, at the irony that this poor soul in Detroit, named William Faulkner, shared his name with a famous white Southern writer who was not particularly supportive of desegregation. William Faulkner, the writer, lived between 1897 and 1962, and there's no evidence that he was related to or even aware of the travels of his namesake. Anyway, the William Faulkner that we're concerned with here was the owner of a tavern in Detroit and was found guilty of sexually assaulting a white girl. The white people in the community apparently did not trust the law to mete out the kind of punishment which they thought he deserved. And so they gathered outside the court and tried to mob him. They clashed with the law enforcement agents who protected him from their mob action. When they failed, they then went around the city of Detroit, attacking African Americans and burning homes and other buildings which belonged to black people. It is believed that about 200 black residents of the city were left homeless as a result of the mob action. Now, ironically, although the local newspapers described William Faulkner as a Negro, it turned out that he was not. He was Spanish Indian. Even more ironic is the fact that the people who had accused him of rape later recanted and he was released from prison. If you've been following this series, you must have watched the episode we did on W.E.B. Du Bois, where we explained about a brief period in American history known as Reconstruction. It was a period between 1865 and 1877, after the American Civil War, when attempts were made to redress the iniquities of slavery and its political, social, and economic effects on the African American population. Please watch the episode on Du Bois to see the gains that black communities made during the brief period before Jim Crow drove them back into semi-slavery. One of the African American communities which apparently was prospering was Clinton in Mississippi. The community was doing so well that on the 4th of September 1875, between 1,500 and 2,500 members of the newly enfranchised community decided to gather to have a picnic and hold a political rally ahead of an oncoming election. The event was attended by black politicians and their families who all gathered at a site of a former plantation. Unfortunately, The mere sight of a thriving black population was too much for the white people who saw them as a threat to white supremacy. A white politician decided to start heckling one of the speakers, which led to a fight. The fight turned out to be only an excuse to destroy the community because within days, a presumed race riot became a massacre. Wilmington, North Carolina was another city where the formerly enslaved population took full advantage of the brief period of Reconstruction and thrived. Many of them achieved so much economic success and managed to hold on to their wealth for a few decades. They worked hard in the major port city as skilled artisans and industrial workers, and some even became professionals. They formed a building and loan association, built libraries, and even created baseball leagues to show how comfortable they were. According to a historical report produced in 2006, it was by the Wilmington Race Riot Commission, in 1870 and 1880, some black businessmen and entrepreneurs were so prosperous that they rivaled many of their white counterparts. They were not only making economic gains, but they were also gaining political power and impacting the local elections in the 1890s and securing seats in the city government. All of their gains, of course, made many white residents angry and envious. As such, on the 8th of November 1898, white supremacists forced the mayor and local government members, some of whom were black people, to resign. So, don't think that Africans invented coups. This was nothing but a coup carried out by civilians. The supremacists sacked all the black employees from their positions in the municipal council and burned the office of a black newspaper. It has been estimated that hundreds of African Americans were killed during the ensuing massacre. Over 2,000 black residents fled the town, leaving the homes that they had labored to build, which were then taken over by white residents who paid less than what they were worth to acquire them. Thanks for watching. Please support us through Patreon and by buying me coffee so we can continue to bring you this series. Subscribe if you've not, and turn on your notification buttons. Please don't forget to share our videos with all your contacts and keep those comments coming.